Welcome to my video. So you see me here about to put some funky new diffusing material in. These are plain diffusers, and the reason why I'm doing that is because it's quite a large drum lampshade. It's about 45 centimeters wide, and when you look up, all you can see is an ugly light bulb. And I want to have something much more beautiful, something that captures the imagination. So I'm showing here how I would normally have, or you would normally have very plain diffusers that you can pop into the drum shade, but you're going to see me make a pattern diffuser using some material that I have. Here I'm showing how you just switch the light on, and the light still comes through, but it's diffused, it's a bit more subdued. First I have to iron out all the wrinkles to make sure that any folds or creases won't be seen when the light is shone through. I'm using one of my favourite painterly fabrics by Designers Guild, and I was very careful to choose the colours that go with my colour scheme. Measuring to make sure that I've got enough space to put the template, because it's a 45 centimeter disc that I need. I'm going to cut out a 45 centimeter disc and a 45 centimeter disc of the fabric and a 45 centimeter diameter disc of the sticky. So I'm placing and choosing the right kind of pattern that that I'd like for to look up at, really, because I call it here my Sistine Chapel look, because it's one of those that I'm going to be looking up at, and I don't want the naked bulb. I do want a lovely pattern. My colour scheme is blue. The lampshade is like a fuchsia pink, and I'm choosing the right kinds of combinations of blues and pinks that I can see in the fabric, so that it all kind of coordinates. It picks up the lovely kind of tealy, duck eggy blue that I have on my sofa, but it also anchors into the beautiful kind of fuchsia pink that I have on the lampshade. And then once I'm happy with that, I then start tracing with tailor's chalk, the marking the area that I want to cut. Now I just need to allow this small piece to cool down and then move on to the sticky part that's going to weld both the fabric and the diffuser together. So while the fabric cools down, I fetch my massive roll of, I just call it sticky actually. I think that's what the suppliers call it. It's like a double-sided sticky thing. It's like a massive roll of what they call it? A massive roll of double-sided sticky tape. It's quite unwieldy. It's difficult to kind of to store and unravel, but you see me managing to work around it. So that's going off to cool, and I start cutting. So now is the turn for cutting out the 45 centimeter disc for the sticky, and the way I did it in this example probably isn't the recommended way. In reflection, I do remember them saying something about putting something down first and then putting something else down on top. I think they meant put the fabric down and then put the sticky on top and then put the diffuser onto that. But I think I've managed to show that you can also do it another way, whatever way works for you, as long as there are no wrinkles in, so it's good to smooth things out. And I think it depends on the size, because when I did this before, I did it on a 70 centimeter diameter light lampshade. So this was smaller and much easier to, especially to trim, and to just stand up at the workbench and do it. It was much more easier. When I did it for my massive lampshade, which is 75 centimeters or 70 centimeters wide, I think I had to use the floor to measure everything. And it was a little bit nerve-wracking, but to do it on something that was 45 centimeter felt much easier. So I was happy with that. So I'm just cutting around the disc. Um, at, at this stage, only one side feels sticky, because the other sticky side is covered with like a waxy kind of paper. And as I go, I'm, ironing out any wrinkly bits or any kind of air pockets. So just ironing those out with my hand. It doesn't need to be a heated iron. I'm just kind of putting pressure on it. And yeah, that's relatively quick, actually, to just cut round the circle like that. Then the next stage is to just make sure it's all kind of, there's no straggly bits. And the next stage really is to start cutting into the paper bit, so you release the stickier side. So then you've got two sides that are sticky. So I'm just wiping everything here, making sure everything's nice and clean, and flicking up a little bit of the paper to make sure that I'm not pulling away the whole kind of tape again. I just want to pull away the waxy paper. So we have got, you know, one sticky side and it reveals another sticky side. So we've got some adhesive for the fabric. Now here I realise I might have cut my fabric a bit too short, because this is where it feels like reverse parking. You know, that reverse parking hadn't always been my favourite thing to do. And I'm wishing that I maybe cut the fabric a bit bigger. But yeah, slowly, it managed to fit, and I'm just smoothing out, you know, all any wrinkles. There's not too many, but you're just going very carefully here to make sure that the design is lying as flat as I want it, and you know, there's no areas that are sticky um, or exposed. I just want the fabric that is cut out like a circle to fit snugly on the diffuser, which now has a sticky side. Applying the fabric to one of the diffusers that I have. I've taken out the plain diffuser and getting ready to fit the floral diffuser to my wonderful 45cm fuchsia linen lampshade, which I did start to dislike because whenever I looked up, I would always see this ugly light bulb, despite it having wonderful gold walls. So I'm now just getting everything ready to kind of test it and see what it's like. I'm just looking after the edges to make sure there's nothing kind of sticking out, nothing fraying, nothing tacky in terms of that might catch on the sides. And I'm just now fitting it in, and literally you just literally slot the now fabric diffuser in, and it just rests on the lip of the lampshade, and I think it looks stunning. I'm very pleased with it, and I do a test with the light to switch that on. Now I'm going to fit it to the floor lamp. The floor lamp is in a style of, I think they call it a fishing line, a fishing line. So it's kind of dangling from the floor lamp, although it's not dangling from the ceiling, it's dangling from a floor base lamp that looks like a fishing line. And this is what my guests will see when they look up at my brand new lampshade. And they no longer have to look at an ugly LED light bulb. And I couldn't, you know, I didn't really want to use an incandescent lamp because that's very kind of hard and industrial. My space is much more cozy